Why do you go to Bogota?
An opportunity came up. I was contacted by headquarters that they had a special headquarters position that would be based in Bogota, Colombia, coordinating activities between various agency entities and the Colombian government uh, for the office. So where there wasn't, it was kind of deconfliction,
Mhm.
ensuring assets were utilized in the best manner possible, so people weren't duplicating efforts and things of that nature.
Was it because somebody knew you at headquarters? How did you get picked for that spot?
I knew the job existed because
Okay.
it was a quiet job, and I had been called about it a few years prior,
Okay.
but told I was probably the second best guy for it because somebody else had a friend they wanted for the job.
Okay.
Um, and I knew these jobs only were in a few different embassies that we had, and at the time I saw that vacancy coming up again
Okay.
for Bogota. I'd never served in Colombia, and I thought, well, let's give it a try. It was a 2 year tour of duty.
Okay. So that kind of a specialized job, but give me a flavor, give me an idea from your perspective, the difference of being a DEA agent in the States versus being a DEA agent in another country.
Well, you got to kind of switch your hat. When you leave the states where you're a law enforcement officer, like every badge and gun carrying guy here in the states, working specialized narcotics cases. When you go overseas, you are working as a law enforcement officer, but you don't have the authorities there.
Hmm.
So now you are actually working more as a diplomat, an intelligence officer, a coordinator to make things happen that are impactful, that benefit the United States, and also help build the infrastructure of those host countries who are allies of us so they can deal with their problems there.
Hmm.
It's a very much different job, and some people adapt to it well, other people struggle with it a little bit.
So, I could probably guess you got maybe FBI, maybe CIA, you have the State Department there. What's the general attitude toward DEA in an embassy like that?
So when I went to Colombia, DEA, I believe, military group might have had a bigger presence. Never looked at the numbers, but DEA had the one of the largest, if not the largest, presence in
Okay.
the embassy in Bogota,
Okay.
and the reputation was pretty wild. Uh, DEA had a very much, and I hate using this term because I fancy myself somewhat of a cowboy, but they had those guys are cowboys. They're gunslingers. Um, you know, kind of a thing is a lot of single guys say, hey, that's the reputation I want to have, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the State Department crowd and other agencies that were a little wild because of the type of mission we had and type of jobs we were doing. In fact, the funny thing was, and I don't remember the exact quote, but before I got there, my family was able to go with me. Prior to that, it was a unaccompanied post, so you couldn't bring your family with you. So you
Okay.
had to be unaccompanied during your tours. But the ambassador at the time, I believe it was Ann Patterson, who said, "We've got to let DEA families come down here because either we're just getting pure gunslingers and playboys coming down here, and we need to change that." And but certain people were drawn to Colombia at the time, right? This was past the days of the Medellin cartel, but there was a lot of other things
Yeah.
going on, and it was very violent.
Do they State Department are known, I think it's fair to say, as teetotalers. Did they appreciate what DEA was trying to do?
I guess I'd have to say it all depends on who the individual was.
Okay.
You could see some that resented us and some that loved us. So I think it depends on the individual.
Okay.
It depends on the individual. I would never blanket any agency like that.
Okay.
So
So in 2004, are you still in Colombia?
I am in Colombia.
Okay. So
I've been there for 2.5 years.
okay, so you're there for 2.5 years,
And
but
actually, just a strange note,
yeah,
I was being transferred to Colombia on 9/11, and I was in Washington D.C. when all of that occurred.
really.
Yes, staying right across the highway from the Pentagon at the time. So very, very tragic time in U.S. history, right?